Welcome to Echoes of Middle-earth, where today we journey back to the Elder Days to witness one of the most legendary confrontations in the history of Arda. We speak of a time when the world was young and the High Elves waged an unrelenting war against Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, for the recovery of the Silmarils. At the center of this tale is a hero whose name is synonymous with both beauty and devastating power, Glorfindel of Gondolin. This is the chronicle of his final stand, a battle between a Lord of the Eldar and a Balrog of Morgoth, a demon of shadow and flame that threatened to extinguish the last flickering hope of a dying people. To understand the weight of this battle, one must first look to the city from which the hero came, Gondolin, the Hidden Rock. Built in secret by King Turgon within a circle of the encircling mountains, Gondolin was a city of 7 names, a place whose fame and glory were mightiest in the songs of the elves in the Hitherlands. For centuries, it remained a secret redoubt, protected by profound silence in the vigilance of the Eagles of Thorondor. However, the pride of its king and the treachery of Maeglin, who was cowed by the torments of Angband, eventually led to its discovery. Morgoth had long desired to take or destroy Turgon, for he feared that from his house ruin should come to him. When the hour of betrayal arrived, the Dark Lord loosed his full strength upon the city. Balrogs, orcs, wolves, and the terrible dragons of the brood of Glaurung. In the chaos of the sack of Gondolin, when the high and white walls were breached and the towers were overthrown, the people of the city fought with desperate valor. While Ecthelion of the Fountain engaged in a mutual slaying with Gothmog, Lord of Balrogs, in the very square of the king, another group of survivors sought a path to freedom. Led by Tuor and his wife Eärendil Celebrandal, a small remnant of the people escaped down a secret way that had been prepared in anticipation of this very doom. Among them was the child Eärendil, who would one day become the star of hope for all dwellers in Middle-earth. The path of their escape led them northward, toward the highest and most perilous parts of the mountains, a route the captains of Angband never expected fugitives to take. The road was one of woe and misery, as the survivors were encumbered by the wounded, the elderly, and the children. They eventually reached a dreadful pass known as Cirith Thoronath, or the Eagle's Cleft. Here, a narrow path wound its way beneath the shadow of the highest peaks, bordered on one side by a sheer precipice and on the other by a fall that leapt into a void of emptiness. It was in this precarious and narrow space that the refugees were ambushed. Morgoth had set watchers all about the encircling hills, and to ensure the destruction of the escaping elves, he sent a Balrog with them. The Balrogs were spirits of fire who had adhered to Morgoth in the days of his splendor and had become most like him in his corruption. They were cloaked in darkness and carried whips of flame, and of all elf banes they were the most deadly, save only for the Dark Lord himself. In the narrow way of Cirith Thoronath, the plight of the survivors seemed hopeless. But it was then that yellow-haired Glorfindel, the chief of the House of the Golden Flower, stood forth to defend the rear. He was one of the mighty of the Firstborn, an elf lord of a house of princes who had seen the ages of the world and carried a power that few could match. The battle that ensued was a duel of supreme spiritual and physical force. On a pinnacle of rock above the abyss, Glorfindel engaged the demon of fire. The songs of the elves tell that he fought with the strength of his ancient race, a prince of the Noldor standing against the ancient shadow. The conflict was so fierce that it was said to have reached into the very roots of the earth as the elf lord and the Balrog wrestled upon the heights. In a final cataclysmic struggle, Glorfindel and the Balrog fell together from the rock into the ruin of the abyss below. Though the hero was lost, his sacrifice was the salvation of his people. The fall of the Balrog and the valor of Glorfindel delayed the pursuit long enough for the great Thorondor, the king of eagles, to come to their aid. The eagles stooped upon the orcs that remained in the pass and drove them shrieking into the deeps, ensuring that no word of the escape from Gondolin reached the ears of Morgoth for a long time. Thorondor himself bore up the body of the fallen elf lord from the dark depths of the abyss below. The survivors of Gondolin did not leave their champion to the silence of the mountains. They buried Glorfindel beneath a mound of stones beside the pass where he had fallen. It is recorded in the histories that a green turf grew upon his grave, and yellow flowers, perhaps the golden Alinor of later tales, bloomed there in the barrenness of the stone. His grave remained an island of beauty and peace until the very shape of the world was changed and Beleriand was broken in the War of Wrath. The legacy of this battle cannot be overstated, for among the refugees saved by Glorfindel's stand was Eärendil the Mariner. It was Eärendil who would eventually sail the ship Vingalot to the uttermost west to plead for the mercy of the Valar. His embassy brought about the host of the Lords of the West and the final overthrow of Morgoth, a victory that ended the First Age. Without the heroism displayed at Cirith Thoronath, the line of the kings of men and the hope of the elves might have been lost forever in the shadows. The story of Glorfindel and the Balrog stands as a testament to the idea that even in the face of absolute darkness, a single act of courage can change the course of destiny. The Elf Lord of the Golden Flower did not fight for glory alone, but to preserve the seed of the future from the fires of the past. His return from the halls of awaiting in later ages only serves to underscore the purity of his sacrifice, as the Valar themselves recognized that his task in the world was not yet finished. As we reflect on the echoes of this ancient clash, we are reminded that some wounds, though they change us, cannot wholly destroy the spirit. The memory of the yellow flowers on that lonely mountain grave remained a sign of hope through the long and weary years of the Third Age. Glorfindel, the slayer of demons and protector of kings, remains one of the brightest lights in the history of Middle-earth, a hero who looked into the eyes of terror and did not blink. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the legends of the Elder Days here on Echoes of Middle-earth. If you want to hear more tales of the valiant deeds and tragic dooms of the children of the world, make sure to like and subscribe as we continue to unearth the hidden truths of Arda. Until the stars shine again on our meeting, may your road be fair and your heart stay as unyielding as the walls of the Hidden City.